My twin slept with my girlfriend and got me kicked out at 17, now my family wants me back because I'm in grandpa's will. Hey everyone. Before we kick off today's video, I've got a favor to ask. We've noticed our channel isn't getting as much love lately, and subscribing is one of the easiest ways you can help us out. It's quick, free, and it means we can keep bringing you awesome content. Your support really means a lot, so let's work together to keep this channel growing. Thanks a bunch. Now, let's dive into the video. Hey folks, I've got quite the story to share and I could really use some advice. So, after being cut off from my family for 8 long years, they've suddenly invited me, my wife, she's 27, and our little girl, just 1 year old, to come celebrate Christmas with them. I've been getting mixed signals from my buddies about what to do. One of them suggested I spill the beans here and see what you all might say. Let me give you a bit of background. My mom is 52 and my dad's 54, and they have 4 kids in total. I'm the youngest at 25, with a twin brother named Casey, and 2 older siblings who I'll call Michael, he's 31, and Sarah, she's 28. Growing up, I was pretty much the black sheep of the family, a fact I've known forever. See, my family's a bunch of sports nuts. Dad was a killer basketball player in college, Mom was into volleyball, Michael played soccer, Sarah was all about softball, and Casey was the football team's star running back. Me? I wasn't into any of those sports, I loved archery instead. My family kind of mocked it as a wimpy sport, though. My folks were always more interested in my siblings' games and hardly ever showed up for my events. Out of around 20 archery tournaments I took part in between ages 14 and 16, they came to just one. They didn't exactly ignore me, but they weren't emotionally present either, which really bugged me as a teenager. Whenever I tried to talk to them about it, they'd brush me off, calling me an attention seeker. But that's not even why the family ditched me. Back when I was 15, I started dating this girl, Amy. We were in the same grade and things got pretty serious enough that I introduced her to the fam. They all liked her a lot. I was young, but I saw a future with her. Fast forward about 2 years, and I found out from one of her ex-friends that she was cheating on me. Guess who the other guy was? Yep, my twin brother, Casey. Amy told me she initially loved me but ended up loving Casey more. That day, I confronted Casey and, in a fit of anger, punched him out cold. Not my proudest moment, but it was like all my pent-up frustration just burst out. To avoid charges, since I could have been tried as an adult, I was sent to live with my dad's estranged sister, my aunt, who lived 2 hours away. She and her husband took me in, and though it was tough at first, I eventually let go of wanting any relationship with my family. I switched schools, went to college in my aunt's town, and graduated as an electrical engineer. I later met my wife, tied the knot, and we decided not to invite my family to the wedding to avoid drama. We bought a house an hour away from my aunt and had a daughter last year. Just a week ago, out of the blue, my parents hit me up on Facebook. They want to get the family back together for Christmas at their place. I told them I'd think about it since I might have other plans, but the truth is, I'm torn. Michael and Sarah also sent me friend requests, and that just feels off. My wife thinks if I decide to go, she'd rather spend the holidays at her dad's place with our daughter to dodge the stress, especially since she's 2 months pregnant. I totally get where she's coming from. So, what do you think? Should I try to patch things up with the family or just leave it be? I'm really stuck. They could feel bad about how they treated me and want to say sorry, but I'm worried they might also expect me to apologize to Casey, which I'm not down for. And here's a quick update. A couple of weeks after Christmas, life threw us a curveball. My wife suddenly had terrible abdominal pain, and my sister-in-law and I rushed her to the hospital. Sadly, we found out she had a miscarriage, and they had to remove the fetus right away. Breaking the news to her was devastating. Due to some complications, she had to stay in the hospital for another couple of days. I'm trying to hold it together for her and our daughter, but honestly, I'm struggling. Thanks for sticking with me through this long update. I wanted to share earlier, but things just got in the way. Most of you advised against spending Christmas with my family, and I ended up following that advice. So, because of the big day coming up, I decided to hang out with my wife for the rest of the holidays. I mean, my family never really had time for me before, so why should I go out of my way for them now? When I texted them this, I honestly thought they'd start a fight, but to my surprise, they were totally chill and said they respected my views and couldn't wait to catch up after the holidays. That got me curious, so I started digging into why they reached out in the first place. Michael is a big-shot corporate lawyer back in our hometown. From his Facebook, I learned he got hitched in 2016 and has 2 daughters. Sarah, on the other hand, is married to a doctor. She was on the path to becoming a nurse about 8 years back, and now they have a son. An old friend of mine, who's in touch with my family, told me Sarah actually divorced her first husband after he got caught up in some mail fraud mess. Crazy, right? Then there's Casey. He married Amy right out of high school, and they have 2 kids. I couldn't find out what they do for work, but buying a big house last year during a pandemic suggests they're doing pretty well for themselves. Meanwhile, my dad seems to be going through some midlife crisis, and my mom is super into wellness stuff. I started thinking about why they suddenly wanted to reconnect. First, I thought maybe money, but that didn't make sense since my parents were making bank compared to me and my wife 8 years ago. Plus, my siblings seem financially solid. Then I considered organ donation. Casey is my twin, after all, but that seemed unlikely since he was out skiing just before Christmas. Lastly, I wondered if it was about my daughter. Maybe they wanted to bond with her, but she's not their first grandkid, so why now? They probably found out about her from my wife's public Facebook, which she has since locked down. I called my aunt, the cool one who took me in, to get some answers. She explained that my paternal grandparents disowned her because she came out as bisexual. Recently though, my grandpa started reaching out about a month ago, asking about me, my life, and whether I had a family. My aunt said she shut that down because he had been defending Casey's actions against me. My jaw dropped when I heard why my family wanted to patch things up. Turns out, my grandpa told them if they didn't apologize and invite me to Christmas, they'd be axed from his will. Yep, he's loaded. So, their olive branch wasn't about making things right with me but saving their inheritance. After hearing all this, I blocked them. I have a supportive wife and family on my in-laws' side who truly care about me. But it didn't end there. Just 3 days after New Year's, I got a call from an unknown number on my work phone. I'm used to random calls, given my job. When I picked up, guess who was on the line? My grandfather. So, get this, I got a call out of the blue from my grandfather, who must have grabbed my number off the company website. He starts off by apologizing for basically ghosting me for the last 8 years. Apparently, he felt bad about missing my graduation and wedding, and even when my daughter was born. But to be honest, we weren't super tight before, so his disappearing act didn't really bother me. Anyway, as we were chatting for almost half an hour, he drops this bomb. He's so mad at the rest of the family that he wants to drop them from his will and put me in instead. I'm left thinking, what? I mean, sure, the money would be nice, but I definitely don't want him thinking he can buy a relationship with my kid. Things were going okay until he made this dumb comment that really ticked me off. He was disappointed that my daughter didn't get the family name. For some background, my wife and I decided way back that our kids would have her last name, even though I couldn't legally change mine. I lost it and told him off, calling him a senile old guy and saying he should never contact me again. It's the nerve of him, you know? If I ever get that money, I'm planning to donate it to a local charity. But, knowing him, it's probably just talk anyway. The last couple of weeks have been super stressful. My wife and her folks even made their Facebook accounts private, just to duck any more drama. Who knows what they'll try next, maybe hire a PI to track us down. I'm thinking about a restraining order, but there's some legal shenanigans in the family, so that could be tricky. I didn't have much time to answer questions on my last post, but I'll try to get to them in the next day or two before I take a break from Reddit. Thanks to everyone for the advice and Happy New Year. As for the second story, it takes me back about a decade. My ex-girlfriend left me and our daughter for some other guy, but now she's back, hoping to play happy family after catching COVID and realizing she's all alone. So, it all started 16 years ago when I met Lucy. She was amazing, smart, beautiful, and hilarious. I felt like the luckiest guy when we started dating, and a year later, we had a baby. Life seemed perfect. I was living with my fiancé and our kid, and I was loving family life. Lucy and I were finally set to get married, and our daughter was psyched to be the flower girl. Everything was great until some random dude stopped me on my way home. At first, I thought he was selling something, but then he said, "Lucy." He asked to talk in private and said I should call off the wedding because he and Lucy were meant to be. I didn't believe him until he started sharing details about her that he shouldn't know. I rushed home, hoping it was all a big misunderstanding, but Lucy confessed everything. She'd been cheating on me for 2 years. She admitted that every time she said she loved me or wanted to be together, it was all a lie. She told me her new guy was younger, better looking, and a better lover. She didn't want to be tied down as a mom or wife and wanted her freedom back. The kicker was when she said she was relieved that I knew and could finally leave. I was crushed, begging for another chance, but she wasn't having it. She was chasing the thrill and excitement with her new dude. She left the next day. I was a mess, but my daughter needed me. She was crushed, thinking it was her fault. She heard Lucy say she didn't want to be a mom anymore. I had to step up for her. Thankfully, my family and even Lucy's folks were super supportive during this whole mess. The whole situation with my daughter was so embarrassing for her parents that they felt they had to apologize for everything she did whenever they saw me. Seriously, I can never thank everyone enough for all the help they gave me. Fast forward 10 years, and after tons of therapy, my daughter and I are doing great. She's my whole world, a beautiful 15-year-old who I just adore. We've both healed from the past and are living a pretty sweet life. But then, out of nowhere, she shows up again. My daughter and I come back home to find Lucy waiting for us outside our apartment, ready to chat. I knew her instantly. I wish I could say I did something smart like ignore her or tell her to leave, but nope, I was a fool. My heart did a little flip when I saw her. She looked as stunning as ever, maybe even more so with age and all, kinda mature and elegant. Probably the clothes or makeup, I don't know. Anyway, I let her in. While our daughter gave us some space and headed to her room, Lucy filled me in on what she'd been up to. Turns out, she lived with someone else for a few years and had a blast until things went sour, and she started cheating. She wanted to feel alive and ended up jumping from one short relationship to another, eventually settling for casual hookups. Lucy mentioned she occasionally thought about us but was too proud to admit she'd messed up until she got really sick last year. It hit her hard, and she realized how lonely she was and how much she'd screwed up. She confessed she wanted to marry me and be the family we were supposed to be. Once she finished, I told her to leave so I could think things over. She agreed and said she'd be back the next day. For years, I wished she'd come back, and now that it was happening, something felt off. Since then, she's been dropping by almost every day, reminiscing about the good times and talking about how we could be a happy family again. I turned to my family and friends for advice. Most thought taking her back would be a huge mistake, while others thought I should give her another shot. After a heart-to-heart with my daughter one night, she hit me with some serious wisdom. Can you really love someone who's hurt us so much? And that was the light bulb moment for me. I couldn't risk my daughter getting hurt again. I told Lucy that she could have a relationship with our daughter, but only if our daughter wanted it. But as for us getting back together? No way. Lucy just said she'd try to win me over again and wouldn't give up. In an update, I didn't expect so many responses, so thanks to everyone for the advice. I realized I still had unresolved feelings about my ex, but I'm determined not to let her hurt my kid again, so no, I'm not getting back with her. She kept pushing for a meetup, so I decided to have a final talk and set some boundaries. We met in a public place, and the conversation was tough. I told her if I caught her lying, I'd walk. I asked her if she really regretted her actions, or if we were just her fallback plan. She couldn't answer any of it directly. She kept saying things like, "It's not like that, you have to understand me." She was all about starting fresh but never really mentioned our daughter until I did. When I told her it was over, she grabbed my hand, just like some of you warned me she might. She tried to get my attention by pulling down her top to show off her cleavage and said something like, "We can find a spot and I'll do whatever you want. I won't say no to anything as long as it makes you happy." Honestly, I didn't recognize her. She wasn't the amazing girl I once knew. She wasn't the mom of my daughter. I had no clue who she was, but she definitely wasn't my Lucy. I told her, "Let me go. We're done. Please stay away from me and my kid. We're better off without you." Suddenly, she flipped out, saying I couldn't leave her, that I didn't have a choice because she had nothing else and I couldn't take her daughter from her. That last part hit a nerve. I don't remember my exact words, but I said something like, "Your daughter? You mean the one you just gave birth to? You're not her mom. Where were you when she was sick, when she had a fever, or was scared at night? Did you see her first tooth fall out or watch her cry at night missing her mom? Were you there on her first day of school, when she got her first period, or had her first boyfriend? Where were you when her heart broke a second time because her mom had already shattered it? What were you up to while she needed a mom? You can't pretend to be her mom now because you never stepped up then." She tried to say something, but she was speechless. I walked away. Later on, she texted me, asking for another chance, saying she loves me and can change, but I'm done. You all were right. She doesn't love me or our daughter. She only cares about herself. Having her around would just bring negativity and toxicity into our lives, and I don't need that. My daughter and I are heading back to therapy soon. Some of you were right. I need to focus on myself, get stronger, and move on from what I thought she was because that's not reality. Thanks for tuning in and diving into this crazy family drama with me. If you're into Reddit family drama, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications so you don't miss out on the next story.